Hi everybody, I'm Ken. We are just in the process of getting started. You'll be able to see our screens, you'll be able to hear us. There's a couple of us presenting here, I'll explain that in a second. We'll go from there. So let's just get started. So thanks for coming along. Today we are specifically going to be looking at real-time collaboration using BCF Live Connector is actually the full name of the tool that's now in Solibri 9.12. We'll talk through what's what in there. So let's just get started. I can still see people signing in, so I'll speak slowly. Okay, so yes, let's get properly started. So as I say, this session, this Solibri ASSIST session is designed to show you the new features and how we actually use, configure and work with our new BCF Live Connector tool. There's going to be myself and another presenter actually sharing information live across the cloud. So we'll come on to that in a second. It's a good start when you press to advance PowerPoint, it doesn't move, but here we go. So as I say, we're looking at how we collaborate. And obviously we live in a big old world, lots of us at home right now in different places. I don't know what the conditions are where you are, but certainly here in Scotland it's pretty tight right now. So if we zoom in slightly, as I said, I'm Ken. I'm based in Solibri UK in sunny Scotland. Today I'm co-hosting with Lauri from Helsinki in Finland. So he's across here somewhere. We are physically in these different places, thousands of miles apart. And we've also been joined by Rina to help with some of the admin and other bits and pieces to manage the questions, because we've got now 210 people signed in. If you all ask some questions while we're both trying to present, we're not going to get very far, so Rena's going to help out with that. So the aim today is that we're going to use the cloud to collaborate on the same project at the same time, and the mechanism we're actually going to use for this is BCF. We'll come on and explain a little bit of that in a second. So I can see the numbers are actually still climbing. So for those of you that have just joined, if you do have any questions, your microphones are muted purely because of the number of people on the call just now. But if you have any questions, then please send them through the question panel. I can see there's already a question on there which Rena's already answered. So somebody has asked, is this being recorded? And yes, it will be recorded. And once the session's finished, it will be uploaded and you'll be sent a link to the recording if you miss any of it, or if you feel it's really exciting and you want to watch it again. So let's move onwards. So we're going through real-time collaboration with BCF Live using our BCF Connector tool. There's a few things we'll run through. First of all, we'll begin by just talking about what is BCF as a format, what's some of the history, how does that work with Solibri, etc. And then what we'll do is go into an actual live demonstration where Lauri will show how it works, how it's configured, how you manage things, and then we'll do a little bit of collaboration between the two of us. Let's just carry on from there. I'm just checking to make sure that we don't miss anything. We've got another chat window open, so I'm just making sure there's nothing going on there. So before we actually start, we'll just do a little bit of make sure everybody's awake, because we're all in different time zones. So we have just a quick poll that we'll fire up. If Rina, if you could set that off, that'd be perfect, thanks. So this first one is just really to get an idea of what you guys as an audience, what you are using, what you're aware of. So we'll set this for 45 seconds or whatever it is, and really it's just a case of pick a box. Do you use Solibri 9.12? That's the very latest version. Do you use 9.10? Do you use an older Solibri model viewer? Solibri model checker, or do you use the viewer product, which could be anywhere? And there's still a few Solibri model viewers kicking around as well. So just pick one, hit the old submit button, and then once we've got a good percentage filled out, we will push up the results so we can see. Okay. So we'll get a pretty good spread. So I suppose nearly half are on 9.12, so that's good. You'll have immediate access to BCF Live Connector. Yeah, there's a good batch. Some viewers as well, so that we're going to incorporate that towards the end. That's where I'll come back into play at the end of the session, just to show how that's incorporated as well. And for those that don't use Solibri, well, we'll see what we can do about that. Okay, thanks, Rena. We'll go back on. Perfect. So moving on from here, we just need to talk a little bit about what BCF is. I don't know if any of you already use BCF or have used it in the past. But in essence, sorry, I've got too many things open here. That's better. So BCF, on the surface of it, BCF is just, it's a format, it's BIM collaboration format. But actually behind there, it's a lot more than just a format. There's a lot of technical stuff going on in here. So without getting into too much detail, BCF as a term, it can be used to describe the schema that is the file format. So the schema is made up of different bits like the XML files, the resources, the PNGs that make the snapshot, and it's all contained in a zip archive. But you can also use BCF to describe how you transfer content incrementally between a server and a client using an API. So depending on where you come from and how technical you want to be with it, it means different things. But the main points we need to get across is, it's a format, but it is a vendor neutral format. So in a similar way that IFC is an open format for open BIM, BCF is similar. So it's vendor neutral, and it's also completely independent of any BIM model. So it's a completely separate entity that sits on top of anything that we do. And we use it purely to communicate and collaborate issues that have been identified within models. So typically a BCF contains a number of things. You can see it in text here. So there's things like GUIDs, there's descriptions, there's snapshots, there's all this stuff. You can use the text-based version to do work with it, but we prefer our own particular interface. So here we have the issue details. This was the first incarnation of the BCF integration that we use with Solibri, and up to date now in 9.12 we have our live issue details, and there's slight differences between them. So the live issue details, the key thing about this is that this actually sticks to the BCF API standard. It is an international standard. It's an open standard that various different parties adhere to, and it means that when we use various terms and various fields, they can be transferred between other systems. So there's a lot of stuff there that we'll come back on to gradually later on. But the key thing is the fact that we have this format, this BCF, and that's the mechanism that we're going to use for transferring. So in terms of where that fits in Solibri, essentially Solibri is all about creating projects, and the projects are based on models, and ultimately from those models we identify issues or items or whatever it is, and we need to communicate those to other people so that we improve the quality of the project. And along the way there's various steps that we go through to do these checks, but ultimately the communication is the important bit. In some ways, take it a step back, we use the open format, the open source IFC input to bring our models into Solibri, and what we're interested in when it comes to communication, we want a similar open format that we can use for output. So that's why we're concentrating here on the whole BCF output. We can transfer issues using other formats. We do have things like PDFs, and we have Excel and rich text files and all these bits and pieces, but BCF is the thing that we're concentrating on here, and you'll see why over the next couple of slides. So going back to some of the history of where we are today, we need to look at where we started from. So in the very early incarnations of using BCF, we had the file-based workflow, which effectively meant we were working in Solibri, somebody else is working somewhere else in the BIM authoring tools, whatever tool that happens to be, and we had to transfer issues that we identified to them. So we used just a standard old-fashioned mechanical file transfer system, which means you save a file, You send it to them, and then they import it into the BIM authoring tool to then identify the issues that were found, and then you start the process again. So they send things back, you update, and it's very much a manual process, and it's old school, transferring files, whether it's by email or Dropbox, or I suppose if you go back far enough, floppy disk. Moving on from that, we then introduced the BCF Connector. So this came in Solibri 9.6, so that'd be Solibri Model Checker, Solibri Model Viewer in those days. And the idea behind this was that we could use our presentations to transfer the complete set of works off to an issue management platform, and then we could send items backwards and forwards between them. However, there was a bit of a, in terms of workflow, we have to really transmit the whole presentation, so the whole thing gets lumped across to the issue management platform. And the downside of that means is that you have to have a bit of a break in the workflow, so you spend a lot of time identifying issues, running your rules, checking your ITOs, finding the various bits and pieces, but at some point you have to stop, have a cut-off, and then create your presentations so that you can get ready to transmit it to the issue management platform. That then has to be set up to process manually, so you choose whether you're going to push or you're going to pull the issues, or whether you're going to do both ways, all this sort of stuff. But ultimately it can be a little bit slow because there's big sets of data have to be transferred depending on the number of snapshots that are going backwards and forwards, and depending entirely on the number of issues in the presentation, because you might have a perfect project that has just half a dozen things to talk about, or there could be thousands of items. So it was useful, but it was very much first incarnation, and what we're going to come on and look at is what we've done now to improve that situation and streamline things a little bit. So the important thing to point out is this mechanism, the BCF connector, that is now retired and it's no longer available in Solibri 9.12. We can still use the file-based methods if you want to manually create the BCFs to send them to other systems that don't use BCF, the API standard yet. But right now, this system is retired in 9.12. So in 9.12, what we now have is our BCF Live Connector. And this is the main thing that we're actually here to talk about. So this came in 9.12. It's available in Solibri Office, Site, and Anywhere. So it's very much part of the product. We still work with creating batches of issues that we're going to report, but we do this in the BCF Live view, and ultimately we still send them across to an issue management platform. But the difference now is that the live view is very much just part of the workflow. There's no sort of cut-off point to prepare a presentation to synchronize it. It's part of it. And what actually happens is, once we've actually identified issues, or if we want to connect and see what issues are on the issue management platform, we open a connection between the two systems. And we're going to go through this in the demo so you can see how it actually works. But the key thing is it's very much part of the workflow. Once we get these issues identified, we just start to sync. And what the sync does is transfer in small batches of 5 items at a time. It will send and it will receive any issues between the two different products, between Solibri and the issue management platform. We also have the ability to filter built into the BCF API as a filtering system. So if we think of the issue management platform, this is the single source of truth that we talk about, where all the issues are gathered and all the issues are stored. There could be numerous different parties involved in a project across various different disciplines, authorities. Can't think of them all off the top of my head, but there could be numerous people involved in that project and putting their issues, their comments on there. However, from your point of view, you might only be interested in the architectural issues, the mechanical issues, the structural issues. So we have the ability to filter, and we have the ability to save these filters so that you can easily sort by discipline. And the one that's highlighted here, it's my open issues. So these are issues that are assigned specifically to me, and are of a type of comment issue request. So these are the things I need to go and look at. So that's all built into the system, so we don't get information overload and start to lose things because there's just far too many things on the system there. So really the key benefits of this new way of working is that once we've established the connection, the BCF API manages the rest of the process, and it just continuously syncs in these little batches, syncs the information that we've chosen to see, and because it's based around that BCF API standards, it allows us full integration with the various different issue management systems that support that. So the process, it's once you set it going, it just runs in the background and it just incrementally brings down the changes continuously until you choose to disconnect. So again, the main point of this is that we're now able to view this single source of truth directly inside Solibri itself. We're not having to get out to any external systems. It's all just there with our model so we can see the issues and work on them. So moving on from what it is, there's more of a question of who's it for. So in the old days, we used to talk about BIM models and all the different stakeholders that had an interest in BIM models, whether that was a particular manufacturers, whether it was IFC, whatever it happened to be. But these stakeholders, I suppose you should call them, they always have interests for different reasons. And when it comes to sharing and collaborating on the projects, if we were to actually try and share the model itself, there's a lot of overheads with that in terms of the size of the models, what platforms you use, what formats the file in, what skills do people have to interpret the models. People need to actually understand the models. So we're taking a step back from that completely. We're not talking about the building information model. What we're talking about here is just collaborating issues inside the BCF format. So it's a communication or collaboration platform. So in terms of what we're going to be looking at here, we're bypassing all the issues to do with the models and everything else, and we're just using this collaboration platform to synchronize across. So to give an example, we're going to come on and do a demonstration. So what we're actually going to do is Laurie's going to become the BIM coordinator, and he's going to use Solibri Office to identify some issues. There's already issues exist within the project. We're going to look at how we deal with those and send those to the cloud so that those can be transmitted as well. And then I'm going to take on the role of this lead designer or architect. Don't know why I have a different voice now, but obviously I've elevated myself. My choices, there's more of them. So I can use any of the Solibri products. We can use the free Anywhere product. We can use the Solibri site, Solibri Office. I'm actually going to use Solibri Anywhere, the free product, just to show what that does. So it allows me to comment and view the issues, although I'm not actually able to create them as you can in the other products. But Laurie will explain a little bit more about that side of things. Alternatively, if I am the architect, I may be fixing the issues live in the model. So depending on the platform you use, depending on the add-ons that are available for the BIM authoring tool you use, you may be able to plug the BCF directly into your authoring tool and work on it there. But the other thing you can do as well is just access this cloud information on the cloud just through a regular web browser on any platform virtually, any supported platform. So that could be a desktop, it could be a laptop, it could be what I probably would have said would be on your phone while you're sitting on a train, but let's face it, all of us are in lockdown, so we're not doing that so much these days. But we've got a number of different options we can use to access this information and actually start to work on it. So ultimately what we're going to do is synchronize the issues between ourselves using the cloud-based BCF Live Connector and just work together on the same project. So if I just quickly run through as we get ready to switch over to Laurie, he'll run through the whole interface, how we actually just manage this process of working with BCF Live Connector inside Solibri, and go through the various steps so you can see how we deal with issues, whether they're existing, whether they're new, whether they're manually found, whatever it is. And then finally, what we'll do is at the end of the demonstration where Laurie's sent stuff to the cloud, we'll jump back to me and I'll just quickly show some of those issues inside the free viewer 2 time zones and however many thousand miles away. So what I'll do is jump across here, and if we can transfer the screens over to Lowry, he can say hello and do his demo.
Hi everyone, thank you, Ken. So
cool.
I will be giving you the live demo here now. So first of all, I think you can now see the screen. So if you have updated your Solibri to this 9.12 version, you will see this new layout here called BCF Live Connector. This BCF Live Connector comes with these 2 new views. So there's the live issue details, and then we have the BCF Live view. Before I connect to the server, I would just quickly show you how the issues can look in the issue management platform. So we are using now this BIM track. We have a few issue management platforms that we support now with the BCF API connection, but so we could basically be using any of those, but we have to pick one. So in this case, we will be showing how to work with BIM track. I have here now 2 issues in this project. And once we actually set the connection from here, I will choose the BIM track. Now I already have okay, now it gives me this signing page. So it opens up your browser. You set your credential, password. After this, you'll get this notification that connection is established. And now we can see all the projects that we have now in BIM track. I will choose this project that we made for the webinar. Once I press start synchronization, as we saw, there were 2 issues in the issue management platform, and now I can see that they are automatically now populated here in the BCF Live view. So from here, we can select the issues. We have all the metadata of the issues, and we can sort them based on their different data here into order. Once we choose one of the issues, here we can see and change the information in the of the issues, and these are actually populated the information from the issue management platform. So based on the issue management platform, these are the status and the type and stage will vary. And also now we have in this project, we have just 2 people in this BIM track project. We have Ken and myself. So those are the options that I can now assign the issue for. Okay, so how can we create issues to the BCF Live Connector and add it to and share information from the model? So we can basically, we have here this button, new issue. So you can basically just view the model, add some, for example, some markups. We can add sectionings, and if we want this to now to send this to the issue management platform, we just press here new issue. You can see that the sync status stays like this before we actually give a title. So title is always required for the issue. Once I give the title, you will automatically see that now it's starting to synchronize the issue to the issue management platform. I think there's like maybe 5-second interval, and then you will see down here that it's connecting, and now we will see that now this issue is transferred to the issue management platform.
And I can, sorry to interrupt, but I can actually see that already in the viewer that I've got here. So it's synchronized as quickly as that.
Yeah. since we are both connected to the same project, Ken is now with the viewer and the Anywhere, and I'm from the office, so it automatically both are connected to the same project in BIM track. One option is instead of having this automatic synchronization on, we can also go to the settings. The BCF Live Connector has its own settings. So here, if we choose, if we tick this off, what happens is once we create a new issue from here, it gives me this mark as ready option. So I can take my time to fill in all the pieces here. If I want to, for example, link components, which is quite often the case, that I want to send that these are actually the selected elements that I want to link with this issue. So this is one option to go like, and then mark as ready. After that, the synchronization will be starting. Now, of course, we also have the, if we just quickly see here, we have the import issues. So we can directly get issues from the checking results and also from the presentations. So if you are used to having these presentations under the communication layout, these can be sent from here by selecting them. Let's do, for example, something which, for example, this one. So we would just choose these issues. We can mark them or just select them from here. And now when we come here, we choose import issues. And now we can see that there's 4 that we have selected, and we just press OK. It gives us this value conversion. So as Solibri has the value error, based on the server you are using, you can find the matching value from here. And now what happens is they are all populated here. We can see that they're not yet synchronized. We also have this link column here, which shows that these are actually made from the presentation. Okay, now I actually also have the mark as ready, so I need to press this before it actually launches the synchronization. So basically what we can do is if you already have your existing project and you want to transfer it to the BCF Live Connector, you can choose the presentation from here and then just push them to the BCF Live Connector. Of course, you need to be careful that you don't override if they already exist in the BCF Live Connector, then you just select the project and they will be automatically already populated here. But then it's important to make the changes here in the BCF Live Connector and not under the communication, because then we will end up with 2 different data of the issues. If we want to create from the checking results, we can create these slides directly from here. I will just choose example this one. We have this issue with 2 architect walls inside like a duplicate wall here. So now once we have the connection on, we get this column here that gives us the possibility to directly add this issue to the BCF Live Connector. Once we double click here, so now I can give I can assign it directly to Ken, and then also this the same value conversion. We press OK, and now we can also I don't know, give some comments to it, or add in change the metadata, give the priority, due date, whatever is available in the BCF standard. We mark it as ready. And now if we go here, we will see that now the issue is actually listed here. And now we can see the difference to the ones we made from the presentations is that now we actually see that there's this triangle which tells us that this issue has a link to the actual checking result from the rule. So basically we can report, of course, the issues, which is the main purpose, but we might as well use the, for example, take off all the spaces here, have some quantities. This is already has existed in the previous Solibri versions, that we can now create a new presentation from information takeoff. We choose now the spaces here. You can say that choose two information, for example, the total area, link components to the issue. We have now this presentation here, and now we can easily just select them, come back here, and now import the issues from here. So now we are not really, I don't know, maybe this could be like a comment, for example. So we are now basically transferring some other, like for example, some quantity data or whatever you wish to, basically, what kind of information you want to communicate from the model. And as you can see, it's quite fast. So now it actually already synchronized all the 20 issues. Now what we can do, let's sort based on the, so we have now assigned, maybe I will assign one more, for example, this one to Ken, and then Ken can maybe comment on one of these. Let's, for example, this issue here. So if Ken, do you have this issue with the index 14?
Yes, I've already commented.
You have already commented, okay. Oh yeah, I need to go to
that fast.
Okay, so it's right here. So now, did you make the comment in Anywhere or in the BIM track issue management platform?
This is Solibri Anywhere, so I've just sent another comment just now.
So now
that, there you go.
Okay, and there it is. So now I could maybe reply some. And I have the mark. I need to always push this button. And now, okay. Sun is shining.
I just had to add that because I actually had, yeah, it's winter, it should be grey, but the sun's now shining, but because it's low in the sky, I can't see my screen.
Okay.
Anyways.
That's basically what I had for the demo part of the, I don't know, did I miss something? Do you think, Ken? Was there something?
Yeah, I think that covers the main points. We've got the connection to the server. Once it's open, it's running. You can see just below BCF Live View, you can see the name of the server you're connected to and the project name, which we know how busy everybody is, that you won't always be connected to, or you won't necessarily be connected to just one project. So this helps with that. We've captured issues that already exist. We've created new ones.
Maybe one thing to mention, this as it says here now, the BIM track Solibri ASSIST. This is a version which will be out really soon. So this is there's some things, some improvements to the BCF Live Connector, and it's going to be the version, is it then 9.12.1?
Yes.
Hopefully coming out soon. So in this, the version which is now out, you don't have this this it doesn't show you the project here, but this will be out soon. So maybe if you're thinking about updating your Solibri now from, for example, from 9.10 into 9.12, it's maybe good to wait just for a while when we come out with this 9.12.1 version. Is it should we change now back to you?
Yeah, if you want to switch back to me, I can show I'm inside Solibri Anywhere, so I can show what it's like from the free viewer. So the nice thing about this is it means that in a wider deployment of Solibri in an organization, you might have 1, 2, 5, 10 commercial licenses, floating licenses that are used for Office or for Site. Those are the main products that do the full checking. But what we can then do is incorporate Solibri Anywhere that allows those same projects to be used by other people without taking a license. Sorry, this is waiting for me to click.
Well, basically, I can show there was Ken was gonna show this now, like how to filter the issues. So we can basically Ken has same view now in Anywhere. So
can you hear me?
Yeah,
I'm back.
Yes,
Sorry about that.
I can show the filtering part, and then let's try if we can switch back to you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
So basically, how the difference with the Anywhere is that there's no possibility to create new issues, but we can comment these existing issues which are made with Solibri Office or Solibri Site. And now how Ken could use the Anywhere, he could go to the filtering. He could then choose that, okay, he wants to see only issues that are assigned to himself. Can save the filter here, my open issues, for example. Also based on any other data you can create the filter with. And now if we choose OK, we will see that now the filter is highlighted as blue. And now even if there are like a lot of issues, you can focus on the ones that are actually assigned to you or with any other data. So yeah, that was
Cool.
basically probably what would happen in this Anywhere. And of course,
Yeah.
like we all said, noticed you can comment on the issues.
Okay, so I've got, it was GoToWebinar that had stopped working on me there, so hopefully when we switch back now, it'll show the screen and not die on me again. But I've actually got that filter open. If you want to assign some more things to me, that should hopefully transfer across. There we go. So that's me. I'm back. I've got to say, first time in I don't know how many years I've been using all these different products. That's the first time I've actually had the webinar software die on me mid-session. So that was entertaining. But here you'll see it's the same project that Lowry was looking at, and I'm connected to the same project, the same server. In the background, I could go to the cloud and actually see all the issues that are open in here. So this needs a refresh, but these are the issues that are open. Again, we can go and filter and do what we have to do in the cloud version if needed. But if I go back to Anywhere, as I was trying to say when things started to go horribly wrong and it disconnected me, the nice thing here is the fact that we have the ability to use Anywhere in a wider scale across a site so that you can make proper use, utilize your licenses for the checking, the ITOs, the bits and pieces that you actually effectively pay for, and what we can do with Anywhere is use that to view and comment and mark up and include a wider audience that don't necessarily need to know and understand the whole checking process, but they need to know the issues that are involved. So they can come in here, they can filter what they need to filter, they can actually change the view. So if they prefer to work visually, then we can go do something like this and we can see, well, you know, that one's interesting, so let's click on that. You'll see it changes the view, updates the views. We can decide that actually this should be labeled for structures. Let's assign it to Lowry because I don't like to do any real work, so we'll send it to somebody else. And we'll say that this needs to be fixed by Friday. And literally, I just make these changes. I might add a few comments, and then off it goes. Oops, to the issue. And then that'll go, the system in the background, it polls every 5 seconds, I think it is, and it will download batches of 5 issues at a time, so you're never swamped with one big batch, but it works its way through and just gives you what you need in there. So hopefully, there was a little bit of a break in the middle there that was unplanned, but hopefully you can see how that closes off and gives us control back inside Solibri to modify these things. So let me jump back out to the PowerPoint quickly. Right in front of me. So just to finish off before we get to the Q&A session, there's just a little bit of a quick resume of what you actually need to get to BCF Live Connector, some of the sort of preconditions. So the first thing is you need Solibri. So that needs to be any one of our products, Office, Site, or Anywhere, and it needs to be version 9.12. As Lowry said, we do have 9.12.1. That's very much on its way, and it should be with us soon. Depending on the version you've got, there is this difference between the Anywhere product where you can still exchange issues. You've seen everything that we've been able to do so far, but when it comes to creating any of the live issues, then that has to be done through one of the commercial products. There's also the enterprise version in there, which is for larger organizations and things. But yes, you need to have Solibri. It's got to be installed on your machine, and you need to have an account and a license to be able to use that. So that's pretty much a given, hopefully. You need internet access. This is web-based. The cloud is out there on the web, so if you don't have a web connection, you're not going to get very far. And you need to have an account and access to a server and a project and all the necessary access rights that you need on a BCF-enabled provider. The current platforms that we support are these 5, so AConnect, BIMSync, Trimble Connect, BIM Collab, and BIMTrack. As I said at the start of the presentation, the BCF API is a new thing that, using the BCF API to create the BCF Live Connector is a relatively new thing. It's only a few months since we actually launched 9.12 with that as a platform available. But actually it's caused a bit of a stir, and there's a number of other providers we're already in talks with in terms of providing their support to their platforms as well. At the moment, I did check just before we started, and we can say that we're in the final stages of beta testing with Think Project and also StreamBIM. So that will be another 2 providers or 2 vendors that will add to the supported platforms fairly soon. As I say, they're in the final beta stages. So once that's signed off, then they will just be available as additional servers that you can connect to. And as I say, there's more to follow. So just to round this off, we've got another quick poll just to see if any of you use these at the moment, or what you do use, or what you might use. So if Rena, if you wouldn't mind pushing up the other poll, thank you. So the question is, do you use an issue management server, and is it supported? So you might use one of these 5, you might use more than one of these 5, you might use a different provider, you might not use one at all, and you might use the old manual transferring of files. So if you want to just, we'll give it 30 seconds, whatever it is, Rena will be able to see the stats on how many people have signed up so far. But if you just pick one of those, and then we'll see the results once that's finished. Okay, so yeah, so it's nearly half, more than half do use the supported platforms. That's good. Different service provider, and there's about 30% don't use cloud-based methods. So yeah, that's good to see. So hopefully so using these supported platforms, you're also on 912 and able to make use of BCF Live Connector. Okay, thanks. So what we'll do, just to round things off, we do have a question and answer session. The other thing I've put on the bottom here is the link to Solibri Society. This is a society. It's something you can register for and get access to. It's really a communication channel with Solibri, with other users, with the developers, with other members of the Solibri community. In terms of the BCF API and the support for other providers, some of that information is available through the beta testing, which again is something that you can sign up to as part of Society. So if you want to find out more about the other products and platforms and ongoing developments, and if you've got any issues or comments that you want to raise specifically with the developers, then it's well worth signing up to Society and pushing some of those through there. So what I'll do is, if I switch across and have a look at the questions, I think Rena's been keeping an eye on what's what and hopefully has picked out the really simple questions that are easy to answer, and then the hard ones that we'll send to Laurie. But if you have any questions, now's the time to push them into the box and we'll see what we can answer.
Yeah, just a comment from my side. So there's like a lot of questions that have come up during the session. If we do run out of time to go everything through, I just want to reassure everyone that we will check all the questions in any case and get back to you one way or the other. So don't worry about that. But yeah. Let's see what we can take care of now in the session.
Yeah. Cool, thanks. I know the last session I did that was a big session that I did on my own was the auto run one, and the questions came in pretty thick and fast. It's quite hard to keep track, but all the questions, they are logged, so we will go through afterwards, and if there's anything that we haven't done, then we'll pick back up. So we'll see what we can do here.
Okay, let's start from the top. And there's when synchronizing with Trimble Connect platform, the execution date is deleted in Solibri. It exists on the Trimble platform. Linked items are also not transferred. However, the reverse is true. Is this problem known? So these are basically things that what we have done is we are following the BCF API standard, and if it needs to be investigated with Trimble Connect if there are some issues, and so quite often the case is that maybe they are not following the API standard like really strictly. But this is also something we can investigate also in the society by adding this question there, and then we can because we are in connection with all these providers, so we can help to find a solution to these problems.
Okay. Yeah, there's a ton of questions I can see now. They weren't showing up for me initially, but have now been swamped. So I think if we just, there's a few that are duplicates as well. As we've said, we will come back to people. So I can see there's a question about supported issue management platforms. We've already had that up on screen, but we can share that again as part of the follow-up. There is a question I can see. There's a couple of questions about how we deal with existing projects and how those come across. So essentially, there is a change in workflow from the old BCF connector to the new BCF Live Connector, and that anything existing that was part of the old system, that effectively stops, and I'm confusing myself now because I'm trying to think and read these other questions. So what was I saying? So anything in BCF Live, it synchronizes using the new methods, so the new presentations are brought in. In terms of existing projects, I suppose there has to be a call made on how much work you've done with the projects inside the issue management platform, and if you then choose to continue with Solibri 910, so that you can continue the workflow that's already established, or whether you want to make the break and switch over to 912 and start to work with the BCF Live Connector. That's really down to sort of individual projects and timescales, and probably the number of issues as much as anything else. So I'm just overwhelmed by the number of questions here. Okay, so I see there's a question here. Is it possible to assign an issue to several people? At the moment, the BCF API only supports assigning to an individual. I think. Am I right in saying that, Lowry?
Yeah. I think that's coming from the BCF standard. Maybe something to mention about the standard. So Solibri has been actually involved in inventing the standard, or like being part of the Building Smart group, where we define the standard already, like from the file-based BCF version 1. And now this the focus is on bringing a new version of BCF, where there will be more supported fields and improvements to help the workflows. So once there's going to be a new version of BCF standard, you can be assured that we will be the first ones to follow that standard and improving the
I can see there's a couple of questions in there that are similar to that, asking about additional fields. So any changes to the BCF standard, it has to come as part of the standard so that we can then implement that.
Okay, there's also this question, I think, like when there is a synchronization error, there is an auto synchronization conflict manager. Could you guys show an example of that? So that's basically happens if we have at the same time people are modifying an issue. So then we will get this conflict manager, where you actually need to choose now which data is correct. But it's a bit difficult to show. We would have to be editing at exactly at the same time the same issue to show it. But that's just to prevent any kind of conflicts, and also bring them like visible, that now there is a conflict and now which data is correct. But it should happen only when there are actually modifications happening exactly at the same time to the same issue.
Cool.
Can you also just sync the issues issued to yourself? Yeah, I think that's possible. So basically what you would do is maybe use the mark as ready, and you would just filter first the issues that are issued to yourself, and then choose those and then mark all those ready. So yeah.
There is actually a question about using mark as ready on multiple issues. So that is it's available based on the selection inside the. So I've got the PowerPoint open, so I can't see the name of it. But in the live issues, the list of issues, when you've got multiple selected in the live issue details, the mark is ready can be sent. It can be set from there across multiples.
Yeah.
This is quite a good one. Does the new created issue in BCF Live View automatically create the issue in the presentation folder? So no is the short answer to that. So in the past, we used presentations to organize and capture a batch of information to then publish to BCF, whether that was file-based or cloud-based, whatever it was. But now the idea is that all of the issues are stored inside the issue management system. There's no presentation as such. We can organize them using labels and tags inside our live issue details, but we don't have the same filtering mechanism, again, because we're based on the BCF API standard. Everything is in the live issues, and then we choose the tags in order to filter it within Solibri. I don't know what page you're on. There's loads of them here. So there was a question about getting back to the results. So yeah, from the issue, we can show the results. There is a link which enables you to go back to where the results were created. In the same way, you could right-click in a presentation on an issue in 9.10, you could then go back to the results from there. So it's the same sort of thing in here as well.
Yeah, it's maybe the issues are quite complex sometimes, because it involves the issue management platform and then Solibri, and then how the standard is being followed. So that's why the support is mainly done through the Solibri Society. So that's a good place to, like, if you have questions, or if you are wondering how to set up some server connection to your issue management platform, you can already find the answer from there.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of these questions are really quite technical, so we're probably going to have to come back to some of them because they're very much specific. But there is a question about, can we also report out BCF zip file? So BCF zip would be BCF1 or BCF2. BCF 2.1 is just a BCF file. In terms of reporting those out, you can report from presentations that are created in Solibri, but if you're going purely with a new project and you're using BCF Live, then typically what you would do is find your issues, and then the issues would be reported directly into BCF Live. If you need to export any presentations or other documents or any other bits and pieces, then that can be done from that cloud-based system. So in our case, it's BIMTrack, but it could be one of the other, any one of the 5 supported products and the other couple that are coming online soon. So any external files like that would be done from that system rather than from Solibri itself.
There's a question, does the BCF Live Connector support editing of multiple issues in one selection? And this is actually something that we now do support in this BCF Live Connector. So you would just choose multiple issues and you can edit them at the same time.
Cool.
And again, yes, there will be recording webinar.
So I can just quickly comment that, like Laura said, we are recording this session, and we'll be sometime after this session, we will be sending you guys email with a link to the recording. I can also add instructions how you can join Solibri Society if you aren't registered there yet. So it's a great place to discuss about this and other Solibri related topics as well. So yeah, you will receive those to your emails.
There's another couple of quick questions here. So there was one about dimensions and markups. If they're added, are they visible? So yes, they are. They'll go as part of the snapshot and transfer to the issue management system as part of the image, effectively. I did see somebody asking when 9.12.1 would be available. Soon. We don't have an exact date, but it's, yeah, very soon.
There's a lot of questions. Some are quite tricky to answer on the fly. So.
Yeah, there's lots of questions. I've seen it numerous times about assigning issues to several people. Unfortunately, that is a limitation of the BCF API standard at the moment. So I guess there's other channels you can go through there to request that. One would be to contact whoever your service provider is and put the request in there. We are aware of that and have raised it where necessary, but the more people that can make that request, then the more noticeable it will become. There's a couple of times I've seen now, so obviously people are using the software already and asking about the synchronization conflict manager. We didn't show that. It's quite tricky to show because we're both in different products, but essentially with it, if we happen to be editing the same thing at the same time and we choose different fields, then there is a conflict manager appears to allow you to choose which version to go with, which one to override. So if I say it's an error and Lowry says it's a comment, we could evaluate which one is appropriate and then set it that way. And that works across, I think, all the fields within the system, apart from maybe the assignment. In fact, even the assignment probably works as well. But it's, as I say, it's tricky to show that bit of it because we're trying to break it at that point.
I think release video with the there's this release video, release highlights video of the 9.12 where this conflict resolution dialog is also shown.
So there's a couple of questions I've noticed Revit be mentioned. Can you update the BCF file directly from Revit? So can you import the BCF file into Revit and make changes? Depending on the provider, you would need to use an add-on that links Revit to, in this case, BIMTrack. I believe there is, BIMTrack have got a whole bunch of different plugins for different products. So yes, I believe it is possible to connect to the server so you can see the issues in Revit. We have, our model is ArchiCAD based. We have it in ArchiCAD, but we didn't want to get into that today to cloud things too much. Because we're talking specifically about BCF, but yes, you can plug into some of the authoring tools depending on which one, which version, which platform, which product, etc., etc., etc. But that's, again, that's down to the issue management system and what products they support. But yes, so it should be possible to do something like that. Okay, so I don't know. I think, I don't know if there's anything else you see, Lowry, that you think should be picked up.
I think we are quite over time, so maybe we can answer this then after the webinar as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything that's particularly jumping out. So there will be, as Rena said, there will be a follow-up that will have a link to this recording, and we're continually looking at what's coming next. There's another assist session. There's more online videos to help with different bits and pieces. So just keep an eye on solibri.com. Look out for any emails from us with news of what we're working on next, because there's always something happening. Okay, so is there anything else you want to add, Lowry, before we wrap up? Because yeah, time is ticking away here.
I think everything is already said. Remember the society to look for solutions from them. Yeah.
So we'll make sure there's links in there, and if there's any particular questions that we need to come back on, then we'll come back to those individually once we finish the session. But if you've got any other comments, if you need to get in touch or would like to get in touch with us individually, then here's our email addresses. And I don't think we're as scary as that in real life, but thanks for your time for attending. And as I say, keep an eye out for emails and things, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
Yes. Bye-bye.